Stand back! There's a hurricane coming through!
Hello everyone and welcome to the Eye of the Hurricane podcast, episode number 16. The music you just heard is dubstep, courtesy of bensound.com. My name is Chris Robinson, aka Hurricane. You can follow me on Twitter at Hurricane_SXE. And this week,
I'm back, bitches.
Gerren Crane has returned.
I walked down the stairway and didn't fall this time.
Where can people follow you on Twitter, Gerren?
At Debo Assassin. I know it's been a long time. I missed you guys. I'm glad to be back.
And you're still missing Matt and Cody because Matt and Cody are both out this week.
I took them out. I didn't like the comments they made about how I was gone.
Yeah, so Weibo had some bad Chipotle. And let's see. I can't think of anything good for Matt.
I think Matt had to do that thing where his head was by his ankles that one time.
Oh yeah.
So, I told Weibo not to eat the extra guacamole on this Chipotle that day. He didn't want to listen though.
Yeah, he didn't want to listen.
Now he has what we like to call the ass exploders.
Well, you know that Chipotle has just recently had a major E. coli outbreak.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday. Poor little white girls.
Yeah. Including Weibo. So how have you been? I haven't seen you in a while.
Man, I've been good, man. You know, I been doing a lot of adult stuff, trying to get this new house set up. It's actually coming along perfect now, so we're right where we need to be. We should be moved in like 2 weeks, hopefully. Cross your fingers for me.
Doesn't adulting suck?
Sometimes I think that I should not adult, and then I look at my wife and she gives me that "you better fucking get up and go do it" look.
Right.
And so I'm just like, yeah, I will go adult.
Yes.
But adulting sucks always.
We had tried, like, the first week you were out, I was like, we'll have this, because Matt was out the week before that, I think, and we were like, so we came up with a thing for Matt. I don't even remember what it was now, but so then the next week you were out, and I was like, so now we got to think of something funny for Gerren, and I think it was the Blumpkin.
Yeah, it was.
Then
injuries suffered while Blumpkin.
So, but then the next week it was like, so yeah, still Blumpkin. And then the third week I was like, fuck it, he's cleaning his house and shit.
Yeah, I just I fucking hate it. Like, wallpaper is the devil. Like hands down, wallpaper is the worst thing ever invented. Like, who the fuck puts this shit up there?
I don't know. My house doesn't have any.
Like, it's so. This is what you got to do to remove wallpaper. You got to take something and scratch it so it'll pull up the paper, and then you got to squirt it with water. And then you gotta peel that shit off. It's fucking horrible.
Wow.
But we got all that shit down now, so we're ready to paint.
Yeah.
Put carpets in. It's pretty good. I'm ready to go.
Well, that's good. That's good. Let's see. Did you hear? I think I sent this message to you on the messenger, but they've announced the full cast for the Power Rangers reboot movie.
Yeah, you did. And, I'm excited for the movie, but I think they should have went with how it was originally set and just be racist. I mean, it's already there and done.
I mean, it's to me. For those who don't know, they announced the full cast and they have made some character changes similar to what the Fantastic Four tried earlier this year.
Which was terrible, I heard. I didn't even watch it.
I didn't either. But for the Power Rangers reboot movie, Trini is a Hispanic girl. Billy is a African American gentleman, and Zack is a Caucasian gentleman.
which Trini I'm okay with, you know, yellow, whatever. But I think Billy and Zack need to switch because it's just not right. You know what I mean?
I mean, one of the very core characteristics of the character of Zack was his hip hop. Right.
So, no, I'm not going to say that the white guy can't be the hip hop guy.
I'm not saying that either. But
it doesn't. I'm ready to see what they do now. If they let him keep the hip hop style, and he'd be like the white guy from Save the Last Dance or whatever.
John Cena's original character.
Yeah, and then I'm fine. But if they try to change the character completely into something that he's not, then
what if in this movie Zack is the nerd and Billy is the hip hop?
I would be upset.
Keto dancer.
I would be upset about that.
That would be horribly upsetting.
That would be, because now they're not even trying. Like
right.
they're just throwing shit at the wall.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna reserve judgment until I see the movie.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna still question that decision, because if the rumors that it's taking place in the same universe are true, and they may not be, but we had heard that it was going to be like a time travel sort of thing, sort of like the Star Trek reboot, then I have no idea how in the world that's going to work. But if it's not that, then I guess it could work. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Did I tell you guys about the Nickelodeon 90s Kids channel?
Yes.
I did. Okay.
I thought that already existed, because when I had satellite, when I lived out in the middle of the woods, there was a Nicktoons channel. I think
it, but Nicktoons also showed like stuff from this day and age too. So I'm pretty sure my understanding is that they're only going to show like 90s cartoons,
right? Which
I can't wait for.
And we talked about some of those last week, and I had some that I remembered since last week, some TV shows that I forgot to mention, and I was going to mention them real quick, and now I fucking forgot what they were again. So maybe I'll think of them as we go along, but I'm fucking kicking myself now for not writing that down. But anyway, I did see a good movie this week, though.
What'd you see?
I had seen the trailer last week, probably around Wednesday-ish, and I was like, damn, I'm going to have to see this movie. And I looked it up online because it was opening that weekend, and I was going to try to find the closest theater. We usually go to Tinseltown in Benton. But the closest theater that was listed as showing it was in Little Rock. I didn't want to drive all the way fucking Little Rock. I hate driving to Little Rock anyway. Right. So I was like, well, shit, I'm not going to get to see it. Well, then me, Weibo, and Cole were in Hot Springs on, I think it was Thursday or Friday, and we just happened to drive by the Behind the Mall Cinema, and they were playing it.
It was there?
Yeah, so it was the Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse.
I've seen that. Is it good?
Oh, man, I loved it. It was so good. It was funny. That dude had a good hairline.
I think what caught my attention was the fact that there was a hot chick in it. So I watched the preview. I don't know, it just didn't seem like something I'd go watch though.
The only trailer that I saw for it, I happened to stumble upon it on Hulu. I found the trailer for it. I'd never heard anything else about it, and even now I haven't really seen anything of it. I think it was a limited release. I think I read that it only made about $2 million over the weekend.
Really?
But it wasn't in very many theaters, though.
Oh, okay.
It was one of those limited.
So
if you can find it.
I'm about to say they put it out there to see how much it would make, and then.
I think the plan was to give it like a limited theatrical run, and then go ahead and release it on digital and DVD and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I was lucky enough to find it in the theater, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And it has some unknown, like I know who Ty Sheridan is. He was in he's playing Cyclops in the X-Men Apocalypse coming up.
Yeah.
And he was in a movie that I saw with Matthew McConaughey called Mud, that was actually set here in Arkansas. But anyway, so I knew of him. I've seen a couple movies with him in it, but everybody else is kind of unknown, except for David Koechner. David Koechner was in it too. He's the guy from. He was in Thank You for Smoking. He's in. He was the boss from Waiting.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, so he's in it.
I love that movie.
But that was the only two people that were in it that I had heard of. But it was still a good movie. There were some really, really funny parts. I don't want to spoil any of it, but there was one scene involving a zombie penis that was quite hilarious. It had me laughing. All three of us were laughing out loud for a couple of minutes after that. I don't even know what the hell happened after that because I was laughing so damn hard.
So, the only movies that I've seen recently are old movies. So, like, the other day I watched Expendables 3 for the first time.
I haven't seen 3 yet.
It was what you expected to be.
It's on my Netflix queue, but I haven't watched it yet.
You should watch it. It's totally. I liked it.
I liked the first two. So.
But the one thing I didn't like was I'm a big Terry Crews fan.
Yeah,
you know, the big black guy that dances all the time.
I'm aware of Terry Crews,
and so I'm a big Terry Crews fan, and he was out like the whole movie.
What?
Yeah, he didn't die or anything, but he got pretty bad hurt.
Kind of like The Rock from Furious 7.
I haven't seen Furious 7 yet.
Yeah, in Furious 7, Rock gets taken out pretty early.
Really?
And then, sits out pretty much the whole movie. I was really disappointed because I love The Rock.
I love The Rock too. And but I was like, but other than that, it was pretty great. Ronda Rousey is actually in it, and I didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah.
She was in Furious 7 too.
She's pretty bueno.
Yeah.
Pretty bueno. And it has a lot of good stuff in it.
She really, really wants to be involved in WWE.
Does she?
She wants to become Divas Champion.
Really?
But right now, I think it's a contract thing with UFC. And Dana White is kind of like, no.
Why would she want to be in WWE if she's pretty much...
Just think about it. Right now, she gets the shit beat out of her for real. She makes a ton of money getting the shit beat out of her for real. But if you can make that same amount of money and not really get the shit beat out of you... but
the thing is, though, she's never been beaten, though. So... She has literally beat the shit out of somebody.
Yeah, but if you could make the same amount of money and not have to even run the risk of getting the shit beat out of you for real.
That's true. But you know when I say literally, I mean she literally beat the shit.
No, I know.
Okay. She literally beat the shit out of a girl.
Bruce Wayne is about to attack you over there. I need to find a better place to put those things, I guess.
You do. Because I'm tired of getting mauled.
Yeah, I know she beat that chick in 26 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, and then she shit herself.
But if she could get one of those Brock Lesnar deals where she only has to pop up once or twice a month and get paid millions of dollars to do it.
That is true, too.
There you go.
You know why I love Ronda Rousey mainly?
Why is that?
Her favorite DBZ character is Vegeta.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's a big Dragon Ball Z. She's also a huge Pokemon fan.
I think that's awesome because everybody knows Vegeta is the greatest character on Dragon Ball Z ever.
When she was at WrestleMania this year, and she had a Dragon Ball
t-shirt.
It
said over 9,000.
Yeah.
I want a shirt like that.
When she bitched out Stephanie McMahon.
I remember that. Let me think. I had something else I wanted to say, but I don't remember what it is either.
I did too. And it was something. Oh, it was something you said a while ago when you corrected yourself about something that you had said. I don't remember what it was now, but it reminded me that CM Punk is back on Nerdist. He had a show a couple of years ago called Grammar Slam that he did for Nerdist on YouTube, and they brought that back. The first episode came out today, where he reads tweets that people send to him, and he rants about their grammar. And today was the difference between here, H-E-R-E, and here, H-E-A-R. And I watched that right before you came back the second time a while ago, and it was funny as hell.
Have you ever watched Celebrity Read Mean Tweets?
Yes.
That is so fucking funny to me.
I enjoy... To me, that's part of the reason why I did the Reddit thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is because I find those mean comment things, because there's the mean.
I still need to do mine. I haven't even done mine yet.
Yeah, there's the mean tweets like they do on Kimmel, and then there's a lot of YouTubers who they read the mean comments that people leave for them on YouTube, and I just think it's funny, especially when they're a good sport about it, and they can read it and have fun with it. To me, like, if you read it and you take it personal and you get angry about it and shit like that, it's not as funny. But the ones who can read it and
laugh about it,
and if you can laugh at yourself, then that's pretty cool. And I feel like that's a good quality to have, is being able to laugh at yourself and make a fool of yourself and not take yourself too seriously. But
the only way you get that is to not give a fuck what anybody thinks about you.
Right.
Because I know I don't care.
I don't either. That's why I was able to do that. Like, they almost got to me. I'll be honest. They almost got to me, but no, I don't give a shit what people think or say.
Because my thing is this: I can talk about people just like everybody else. So that's what I choose to do.
I try not to, but sometimes people are asking for it.
Yeah. So sometimes you just got to deliver, right?
Yeah, that's right.
It's like, if you ask for it, I'm more than happy to oblige you.
That's right. So yeah, that's why I did the Reddit thing. But Grammar Slam is back, so that made me happy on the inside.
I don't like. If you ever like text me, I don't ever use text talk or anything like that. Like,
yeah,
I try to be grammatically correct. Now
right.
I suck at spelling. Like, I'm terrible at spelling. But
well, that's why I autocorrect. That's
True
why
that.
God invented autocorrect.
True that. Have you seen the pictures on Twitter of people where they'll change like their parents?
Yeah.
They'll change what the words mean.
Right.
My favorite one was dude changed his mom's no to hell yeah.
Yeah.
And he said, "Hey mom, can I go get some hoes?" Hell yeah. He's like, "What, mom? That's great."
I used to have a PowerPoint similar to that. I had to make it HR appropriate, but I used to show it to my classes at the call center.
Mm-hmm.
The texting fails and stuff like that. But yeah,
Awesome.
I enjoy those also.
So, speaking of work, isn't that this week's topic? Isn't it jobs?
It is indeed.
So, what I did was, number one, what I figured we would do is talk about like what jobs that we would want to do per se. So, like, for me, I would love to be a video game tester / a video game creator.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, that would be like a dream job for me. What do you think your dream job would be?
Really and honestly, probably what we're doing right now. Like, if I could make this, and I think I've said this before, if I could turn this into something where I don't ever have to work for somebody else ever again, then that would be the thing. And really, it's a difficult question for me, because I think if anything that I was doing, as long as I was my own boss, I think would be cool. Like, I have years ago, I had planned on opening up like a game shop, kind of like what we have on Main Street here. It would have been a combination of video games and like a trading card post,
right,
where they have Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments and shit like that. That was something that I had legitimately wanted to do and had even started planning. It just wasn't feasible at the time. But something that I like to do, it would have to be something that I have an interest in and something where I'm my own boss. But something like this, what we're doing now, or something like that, just as long as I could be my own boss and be successful at it, that would be my ideal.
I agree. I think that the thing that scares me about being my own boss is if I'm not successful,
right,
then my kids don't eat. You know what I mean?
And I can understand that. I don't have that attachment.
Right. Right.
But if I could be my own boss and be successful at doing something that I enjoy doing, then that would be... And I don't even necessarily have to be rich or famous. You know, if this what we're doing now, the podcast and all that, was sustainable enough that I could pay the bills and eat, then I would be happy. I don't have to be uber famous. I don't have to be well known. But if I could turn this into something that could pay the bills and put food on my table, I would be fine. There are people out there who have taken stuff like this and made a really good fucking living off of it. And some of those people have sponsorship deals and shit like that. Like PewDiePie, I think, was on The Walking Dead.
Fuck PewDiePie.
PewDiePie, though, you gotta hand it to the guy, though. He has taken what he enjoys doing.
He did, but I fucking hate that
Whether
guy.
you like his content or not, you have to give the guy credit.
I give him credit for doing his thing.
Now,
like he did it.
Some would argue that he may be a sellout.
Oh yeah.
Nowadays,
he's definitely selling his.
Jesus Christ, man. But anyway,
He's going to talk to PewDiePie about buying
right.
something.
But you got to hand it to somebody like that, though, who takes something that they enjoy doing and is able to make a really good living off of it.
Yeah, like most of the YouTubers that I follow and like I follow religiously.
Yeah.
So you either have.
What the fuck was that? Jesus.
You either have one or two YouTubers. They're either definitely in it for the money, and they're not gonna come out and say it. But if you don't like give them money in some form or fashion, they don't matter. You don't matter to them,
Right.
or you have the YouTubers that aren't in it for the money. Like right now, when I started the YouTube channel up, I'm not in the YouTube for the money. It's not going to be my main source of income.
Right.
One day I wish it could be, because that would be something I would like to do for myself. But
here's my thing on that. If you go into it with the intention of that being your living, then I think you're in for a rude awakening. Because yes, you can be extremely successful on YouTube or doing something like this, podcast or whatever. The likelihood of that actually happening, very slim. There are people who have done it. There is a family there are actually a few different families who do YouTube shows. The one that I can think of off the top of my head, just because of some recent stuff that has happened, but there's a family that goes by Bratayley, who started out just making videos of their kids doing random shit and putting it on YouTube just for fun, and with no intentions whatsoever of it ever being anything other than just that.
right,
They have almost 2 million followers now. They have not gone to other companies and shit. They have full control over their own content and are extremely successful with it, and have gotten deals where they promote stuff. Like I saw a video recently where they had promoted WWE Slam City, the cartoon and the toys, where they just made a video where they played with the toys, talked about the show and shit like that. But all of that was done on their own, and it just developed organically. And it's something that is possible, and they don't do it for the attention, because they don't release their real names, they don't release where they're from, where they're at, things like that. They go on their first names, they say their first names, but their last name, their different location, things like that, all very, very tight-lipped, private stuff. So they maintain full control. They make a lot of money, but it wasn't what they set out to do, and they've been successful at it just by accident. Then there are people like PewDiePie. I don't know if he started out with the intention of being famous, but
well, you know what's funny? Like, I don't want you to think like my intention is to be famous, because I don't care.
Right.
Like, I think mostly I'm in it to have fun. Now the funds and the money would be great, and like a person like PewDiePie, I don't care what he says. His intent is definitely to make money.
Yeah.
Like, if I had a product he could sponsor, and I tell him, hey, I'll sponsor you, he'd probably do it. but like, so, and what I find is also crazy is like, so competitive gaming, right? Mm-hmm. There's this guy who is a YouTuber. He's also a part owner of the Team Caliber. Mm-hmm. His name is Cosdev. Like, a guy like him, I don't understand. Well, I understand why he would, but he has like his master's. Like, he's literally like a year of school away from being like a lawyer, mm-hmm. like a high-priced business lawyer. Like, I can understand why he did this, because even in his situation right now, his even with his law degree, he still makes enough to where he can afford a $50,000 vehicle.
Right. But
all he does is play video games and run Team Caliber. So, like, I feel like there's definitely a chance. It's just how hard you hustle and how hard you grind.
Right.
That's what I think it is.
And I think the grind part of it is an important thing to remember for people who want to get into stuff like that, because it's not going to happen overnight.
Right.
And you have to be able to be okay with, like, right now, at the point that we're at with this, is it where I would like it to be? No. But I know that in order to get to the point where we want to be, we have to be able to be okay with where we're at now.
Right.
And I think some people think that you can just jump right into something like this and put out a couple of videos or a couple of episodes, and suddenly you've got thousands and upon thousands of followers, and that's not going to happen. I can tell you right now, we've been doing this for about, this is 16 episodes, so 16 weeks we've been doing this. It's not going to happen overnight. It's a slow build.
Like, I'm telling you, like, the quickest I've ever seen somebody make a come up is what I call it, is a year.
Yeah.
And like, something happened within that year that made them jump. Like, so the reason why I want to do like the video games on YouTube and stuff like that is because video games come out every couple of months.
Right.
So, like with Destiny, for instance, right? I love playing Destiny. I wish I would have had my YouTube channel and all this stuff established before Destiny came out, because I could be a real big Destiny YouTuber right now.
Right.
But so it's all about finding your niche, and also understanding that just because you haven't found it yet doesn't mean it's not going to ever come.
Right.
Because the guy I was telling y'all about that's called Enraged Cinema, he was just an average size like Twitch streamer, an average size YouTuber until Destiny came out. But he had been playing like Grand Theft Auto 5 and all that stuff and uploading videos on a regular basis. So yeah, and that's what I live my life by. Like, I'm never gonna quit grinding. That's why I can't wait till I get in this house so I can actually put out content.
Yeah. So, I guess that kind of covers dream jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, we got off on a little bit of a tangent, but it was all related because self-sufficiency, I guess, is my goal, and no matter what it is. I mean, I work in fast food now. It's not an ideal job. I don't hate my job. I'm there because I want to be there. But, I mean, there's other things that I could be doing. But right now, I'm happy with where I'm at. I'm happy with the progress I'm making. And maybe someday I'll have a restaurant. Who knows where that'll end up. But, like I said, my goal right now, and there are people that I work with who are like, oh, I hate this job, blah, 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 I want to quit, go do this would be better. At the end of the day, I don't think there's anywhere where you're going to be able to go working for somewhere else where you're not going to end up hating yourself.
Yeah, I agree.
Hating your job. Because there's somebody that we both know named Brittany who works where I work now, who is in management like I am, who is sick of it, burned out, tired of it, whatever, who wants to go work at the prison. Do you really think that you're going to be able to go there and it be any different? I mean, You're still going to have people that you have to answer to. You're still going to have strict, probably more strict guidelines that you're going to have to follow there.
Right, because
you're not.
Over there, it's like life and death.
Right. You're not going to be able to treat those prisoners the way you treat. You're going to have to treat them probably better than you treat the employees now that you have. You know what I'm saying? It's like, think about, I'm not saying not to do it, but think about if you're going to quit your job and go somewhere else because you hate your job, think about it first, because at the end of the day, there's probably not going to be anywhere that you'll be able to go working for somebody else that you're not going to end up hating. Even porn stars hate their job.
So like that goes, because that was the second, you kind of segued me into the second phase of what I want to talk about, your current job that we have now. Mm-hmm. It's like, you know, where I work, I still work for the telecom people. Right. And don't get me wrong, I love my job. Mm-hmm. I lied. I don't love it. But
you're still in training, right?
Yeah, I still do my training thing. But I feel like it's stuff that it's people, right? People will be people,
right?
Regardless of whatever you do.
Exactly.
And so, not saying that I wake up every morning dreading my job, but there's some days when I get to work where it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
But then again, there's some days where I get to work and I love every minute of it.
Right.
And I think you hit the nail on the head that if you're not doing something that you're interested in, no matter where you go, you know, you could have 16 different jobs. If none of those jobs are what you want to do with your life, then you're going to eventually hate them all.
Right.
After you get to a certain point in time.
My thing is, do I necessarily want to be doing what I'm doing for the rest of my life? No. But do I see the opportunity to use this for something else? This is another point that I made with that person that I was talking about. I don't want to live in this town forever. And to use her thing as an example, is there a prison in every city in this country? No. Is there a call center in every city in this country? No. But is there a fast food restaurant in every city in this country? Yes. There is. So someday I may get to the point where I'm financially secure enough to move to another part of the country. I feel confident in the fact that with the experience that I have in the line of work that I'm in right now, I can get a job pretty much anywhere I want to go. Will it be in management? Maybe not. Will I have to start at the bottom and work my way up again? There's a very good possibility that may happen. But if I have to start at the bottom and work part-time and scratch and claw my way back to the top, but I'm able to go sit on the beach or walk down the boardwalk in Rehoboth at the end of the day.
Where's Rehoboth?
That's in Delaware.
Oh.
Would it be worth it? Absolutely.
Now, so I got a question though, something that's totally off subject. Mm-hmm. So, because me and my wife and my sisters were talking about this, like we started this thing where we take a family vacation to place in Gulf Shores. Mm-hmm. And I wonder, like, if you live in Gulf Shores for so long, when does it stop being fun? You know what I mean?
You know what? That's a good point. And I will tell you that when we went to Washington, D.C. and New York, it was probably the greatest experience I've ever had. To the point where I told myself then that I wanted to live there. This is the first time we went to D.C. to New York. The second time we went, the second time was probably better than the first, if I'm going to say greatest experience. The second time we went was the greatest experience ever in my life. I will say that without a doubt. But while we were there, I thought about it, and I was like, man, I don't ever want to leave this place. I want to live here. You know what I mean? Fuck Malvern. I don't ever want to go back to Malvern. And I'm sitting here in Malvern, and I will still say fuck Malvern because I fucking hate this place.
I hate this place too.
I fucking hate it. It's a black hole.
It is. It definitely is.
It's extremely difficult, and not just this town, but when you live in a town like this, less than 10,000 people, it's extremely difficult to escape and to get out. I know people who have done it, but very few, very, very few.
Like people, I know people that have done it, but then something will happen. Something will happen and they'll come back.
Right.
So, and I'm going to tell you what makes this place a black hole. It's so much easier to do nothing.
Right.
And live here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But for somebody like me who is I have more ambition than that.
Right.
I may not know necessarily exactly what it is that I want to do. I have an idea. Something like this or being in entertainment for me would be ideal. Now, am I qualified for that? That's not for me to determine. But will I be able to achieve that living in this city? Extremely unlikely.
Right.
Billy Bob Thornton is the only person that I can think of who has ever escaped this town and was successful in that area. There have been football players, things like that.
I was about to say, you know how he got successful? He left.
Yeah, he left.
He left.
Exactly.
He didn't get noticed here and then left. He left and got noticed.
And he left, and years and years and years later, he was noticed. Right. But
there's one other person. I don't know if you have ever heard of the singer Neo.
Yeah.
He is actually from Monticello, which is, a few hours south of us.
Right.
But he doesn't even claim it.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want people to know he's from South Arkansas.
Right. I mean, and there have been famous athletes, and I don't mean just from the state. I mean specifically from this town.
Oh, yeah. No.
Keith Traylor, Super Bowl champion. Bill Bob Thornton, Oscar-winning actor. And
that's all, folks.
That's it. And even if you want to go even broader and say Arkansas as a state, who can you count? I mean, Bill Bob Thornton is probably the most well-known, but
besides the people that are known for doing stupid stuff, like Matt Jones, got caught snorting cocaine when he played football. But
does anybody outside of Arkansas know who Matt Jones is?
Yeah, he played for the Jaguars. He played for a lot of people.
Oh, well,
And
I don't follow football, but
and they just cut Ryan Mallett from the Texans, so
I mean Scottie Pippen.
Yeah, Scottie Pippen.
Scottie Pippen from the Chicago Bulls.
Bill Clinton,
Hillary,
and that's pretty much it.
I mean, but the overall point though is that, and to circle back around to the original point that I was going to make, as much as I hate this city and want to go somewhere else, while I was walking through, actually it was in D.C., I was looking at the Washington Monument, and we were with Brock Cole and another guy named Kevin. You know Kevin, but our listeners have not been introduced to Kevin. But Brock has been on the show, Cole's been on the show. But anyway, so we were walking through D.C., I was looking at the Washington Monument, and I thought to myself, we were with Brock's Uncle Jay, because he lives in Kensington, which is about a 20-minute drive, if that, to D.C., and he is actually the music director at the Kennedy Center in D.C., so we were with him. And we're all like walking through here just in awe of some of the shit that we're seeing. The Washington Monument, the White House, Lincoln Memorial, all this shit is around us, and we're just in awe. And he don't give a shit.
Right.
Not one shit. I mean, he probably cared. I mean, he went,
No, he didn't care because he lives there.
Right, exactly. And I thought to myself, and I said to them, you know what? On second thought, I don't want to live here, because I would hate to be to the point where I can walk past the White House or the Washington Monument or the Lincoln Memorial and not give a shit.
Right.
I would not like to be in that position. That's why I decided. That's part of the reason I decided I don't want to live in New York, because New York is my favorite place on this planet. I love New York. I don't want to live there because I don't want to.
You don't want to spoil the memory.
Walk down the streets of New York and not give a shit that I'm there. So, if I could move somewhere, I would want to move to Rehoboth Beach, which is one of the other places that we visited, because it's a smallish town, but it's by the beach. There's a boardwalk. It's a tourist place, and there's nothing really there that I think I could get really sick of seeing. It's the beach. How can you get sick and tired of seeing the beach? Now, it could happen, but I would rather get tired of seeing the beach than New York,
Times Square,
or Times Square or the Washington Monument, things like that. So it's a place where it's far enough away from here that what am I trying to say? It's that area of the country to me is better anyway. The New England area, it's close to the other areas. I could drive to New York from there if I wanted to. I could drive to DC from there if I wanted to. Boston, Philly, all those places. It's close enough to enough things that you could be. What am I trying to say? I know what I'm trying to say, but I can't really express it.
Pretty much, you would never be bored.
Right. You're not stuck. Like in this town, I feel like I'm stuck. Where the fuck am I going to go?
Right.
I'm not close enough to anything to just hop in my car and drive a couple hours to Times Square or whatever. We're 8 hours from New Orleans? So even if I wanted to go to New Orleans and see the stuff there, that's an 8-hour drive. Chicago is an 8-hour drive from here. St. Louis, probably
it's
6.
Like 6.
That's not something that you can hop in the car and make a day of.
Right. I completely agree with you, except I'm more of a West Coast fan. If you've never been to the West Coast,
I used to live in Phoenix.
Not far west.
But that's
enough.
not the West Coast. I've never been to the West Coast. No.
West Coast is awesome. I have a brother that I've talked about on the show, actually, that is a rapper in Portland, and you did the same thing that I did when I went to Portland. I was like, I'm never going back home.
Yeah. Fuck
Malvern, fuck all my stuff. I'm staying here the rest of my life.
Right.
But like I asked him, I was like, so when does it get old? He said about a year or so.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would love to live in Portland. Like I would love it. But it's just because you're right, we're stuck in a small town. Like,
right.
And then if you experience, like, the people that go and come back, is because they never get to experience other stuff out. Like, those are the people that just uproot and leave. Like, I'm gone. And then when they go experience it scares them because it may be too big or whatever.
Right.
And so then they come back because they want to go back to what they know. You know what I mean?
I've had friends who have tried that and they've always come back. The only one that I have right now, one of my friends named Langston. I don't know if you ever met him. He used to work there with us when I was still there, but he lives in Tennessee now.
Yeah, I know. Does he drive a Mustang?
Used to.
He used to?
He has a Corvette now, but the Mustang, during the bad winter storm that we had last year, the Mustang was totaled.
I trained him.
He was in Travis's.
Yeah, I was in that class too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Langston.
Yeah, I know Langston.
Cool dude, but he escaped so far. Good for him. I'm kind of jealous. I believe he works in a auto place, like a mechanic. Okay. But anyway, I'm jealous because he managed to escape and so far has stayed away. But
I'm jealous too. Like I would love, like I don't want to be so far away that I can't come home.
Yeah.
But I want to be far enough away to where I don't see the same stuff every day.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But
yes,
we digress, right?
yes.
So back to our current jobs.
Mm-hmm.
My current job is okay. Your current job seems like it suits you well. I'm going to tell you straight up. My current job right now is a means to an end.
Right.
If it can help me get this YouTube stuff going,
yes,
then I will work there happily until they fire me.
That's the way I felt about it when I was still there. I loved training. I enjoyed the ever living hell out of it, and not my favorite job that I've ever had, but second, I would say, being a trainer.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. I loved every minute of training. I didn't like the politics and the bullshit that went along with it.
Right.
But my mistake was I had a grander vision for where I wanted to go. And to me, being on the operations side as a team manager was the path to get me to where I wanted to go in the future.
Right.
Because as a trainer, I was making really fucking good money. I was pulling $900 to $1,100 every 2 weeks as a trainer.
I wish I was pulling that.
Well, you probably can't get as much overtime now as I was back then, but I was making really fucking good money. But where was I going to go from there? You know, as a trainer, you have training manager,
and that's it.
Unless one of the really long time lifers, and even then you've got to compete with everybody from all the other centers. You know what I'm saying? So there wasn't as much room to grow from there. As a team manager, I was going to be making less money short term, but in my vision, there was a lot farther that I could go and use that as a springboard. Now, that was the stupidest fucking thing I've ever done, because I ended up being under the worst boss I've ever had in my life, and it fizzled out, and here we are. But that was what my plan had been, was to use that as a means to get to other places. But speaking of that, worst boss you've ever had?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I can tell you without a doubt in my mind that it was...
So do you mean worse as in I hated working for them, or worse as they didn't make me do anything?
As you hated... Because I've had bosses, and we shared a couple of them, who sucked at their job, but it didn't necessarily make mine any harder.
Right.
But I won't say last names, but there was a fellow that I worked for named Brandon who not only sucked at his job, but his suckitude made my job and my life miserable. And this dude, like, as a trainer, I pretty much had the freedom to do my job the way that I saw fit to do it, for the most part.
Right.
And to figure out ways of accomplishing, they would give me the goal, and then I would figure out on my own how to accomplish that goal and execute my own vision of how to get there. Sometimes some of the managers would tell me to do things a certain way, and I would either do it or not, depending on whether I thought it would work for me or not. And I was lucky enough to have incompetent leadership who wouldn't follow up to make sure I was doing it their way. But this guy would give me a goal and then tell me how to do it, and then come back. I mean, I guess it was good that he was following up, but his shit wasn't working. And he refused to believe that it was just because his plan wasn't going to work for me. But another problem that I had is he would set a goal. For example, today you're going to get 10 sales for your team. Okay. And you're going to do it like this. Okay. The next day he would come back, his plan didn't work. You didn't meet your goal of 10 plans or 10 sales. So today I want you to get 20 sales, and you're still going to do it like this. Okay, that's not really working, and we didn't reach the goal of 10, so why don't we take a step back, figure out how to reach the goal of 10 first before you extend the goal to 20 and make me use the same method. Didn't work that way. The next day, he comes back. You didn't reach your goal of 20 sales. Today, I want you to get 10 per agent, and you're still going to do it this way. That was the kind of shit that I had to put up with. He had on his desk the 5 days of the week that I work, the hours that I work, broken down into 30-minute segments, and in each one of those 30-minute segments, exactly what I was supposed to be doing from minute to minute. Really? And I was supposed to follow the exact same 30-minute by 30-minute schedule every single day of the week, every week, and that was supposed to work. And he would come out, and it would be such and such time. Oh, it's 2:30. You're supposed to be doing this. What are you doing? Well, I'm trying to improve my stats and this and that, so I thought I would try. No, you need to be, this is what you're supposed to be doing in this 30 minutes. This is what you should be doing. That was...
He micromanaged you.
Exactly. Not only that, but he was a terrible fucking people person, and I will tell you, I don't know if I've ever told you this or not, but when my grandmother was ill and dying, when she finally passed away, I was at work when I got the call that she was dying, and they knew that it was going to happen that night. So I had to leave work and go be with my family. So I went down there. What happened. She passed away. The next day, I went ahead and went to work. Because to me, sitting around thinking about shit is not, it's not good for me. You know what I mean? Mentally. But so I went ahead and went to work. So he meets me in the hallway and he goes, how are you doing? And I thought because we had been trained to pretend like we gave a shit about people. Mm-hmm. But I felt like going into this conversation that he genuinely cared and empathized with what I was going through at that moment. And I was like, well, I'm doing as well as I guess I could be expected. And he was like, well, did she pass away? And I was like, yeah, she passed away. And to make things a little worse, if you want to say, I had to help take her out of the house for the funeral home and things like that. And it was kind of, if you can hear the squeaking and shit in the background, it's the dog. But anyway, so it was a emotional experience, to put it shortly. But he was like, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I know what you mean. Last night I was on my way home and the transmission went out on my truck. So when you called me and let me know that you were having to leave to go be with your family, that's what I was doing. My transmission went out, so I was covered in dirt and grease, and to get this fixed, I'm gonna have to spend like $2,000, and so yeah, that's what I was going through. Like, I'm like,
it's not funny, but it is.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Right.
Are you fucking kidding me right now? You seriously just looked at me with a straight face and sincerely compared my dead grandmother
to your transmission
going out on your truck. I'm sorry, but you can buy a new transmission. You just told me it was going to cost $2,000. I can't buy a new grandmother with $2,000.
You can't.
Literally, not even 12 hours ago, she died, and I had to help carry her dead body out of the house. And you're sitting here feeding me this bullshit. Fuck you, dude. It was in that moment that I had decided that I wasn't going to be working for him anymore. And I should have expected it. I kind of had a couple of experiences with him prior to that kind of gave me the impression that he didn't really give a shit about anybody. But anyway, that guy was a jackass.
Well, I liked him though, man.
No, that dude. I mean, as a person, before I worked for him, I didn't have a problem with him. But he was a jackass.
So, I'll tell you, the worst boss I ever had to. And see, here's the thing: I really haven't had that many bosses because I'm one of those people that is a lifer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I take a job, I just work there until I can't work there anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, it's a toughie because like I've pretty much gotten along with all my bosses.
Yeah.
Like now, would I go out? There's probably only one or two bosses that I would go outside of work and have a beer with, but I don't know.
I can tell you the favorite boss that I've ever had. Not just because I enjoyed working for him, but he was such a good person. Before I went to work at the call center, I worked at a hotel for a guy named Moshe.
Mm-hmm.
He was from Israel, and he was probably not my favorite boss. Not just my favorite boss, but probably one of my favorite people that I've ever met because he was such a good, kind person. I had only worked for him maybe 2 or 3 months. This was in 2008. There were 2 hurricanes that hit the Gulf, and when they passed through here, back to back, it rained for 2 weeks straight.
Right.
And the place that I lived at was a low-level place, and there was a creek behind the house, and it flooded, and my car was underwater. And this man, having only known me for about 2 months, handed me the keys to his Cadillac.
Really?
And let me drive his Cadillac to and from work for 2 weeks until I got my car fixed. I mean, that was the kind of guy he was.
That's awesome.
And the only reason that I left from there was because business was struggling. He was struggling, him and his family, because that was their life. That was their bread and butter, the hotel. Mm-hmm. That was how they paid their bills and how they put food on their table, and it was struggling. And so he was looking to sell. I was making pretty good money, but one thing, I was kind of burned out because I was running the place. When they would go on trips and stuff, I was in charge, and I worked for a full month straight without a day off and things like that. So I was kind of getting burned out anyway, but I kept going because I enjoyed working for them so much, him and his whole family. But business was getting bad and they were looking to sell, so I could kind of see where things were headed, and I went ahead and applied at the place where you work still now. Got the job. Not too long after that, they managed to sell the hotel and move back to Colorado. I'm glad they were able to get out of that before things got too bad, because I could see how they were struggling.
Right.
And they were such good people that it really hurt me to watch them struggling the way they were. So I'm really glad that they were able to get out of it when they still could. But
you know what? My favorite boss of all time has to be Brock.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. And it's not just because he's been on the show or whatever, but when Brock was my boss, I literally did what I wanted to do. He didn't question me. He didn't say, Gerren, you shouldn't do it. He let me do what I wanted to do. So, like, that's how I coined myself as the Wolverine of the training department.
Yeah.
Because I literally did what I wanted to do. And he let me. And it was awesome.
I didn't work for him because I think he got moved during my first class.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, I worked for him at least through part of that first class. I don't think he was still there for my second one. But so I didn't really work. But before I was a trainer and I was just a support, I worked under him. I didn't enjoy working for him, and he's going to get upset because I said this, but I didn't enjoy it just because we were friends, and I think he went harder on me and Cole than he did anybody else just because we were friends. But that's my perspective on it. But
all right,
we're just about out of time. You had a couple of quick.
I was about to say let's wrap this up. So, jobs that you would not do. I have a quick. So, would you rather be not an oceanographer, a hazmat diver, which they swim in sewage,
Mm.
or an elephant vasectomist. They vasecticize elephants.
Is that a thing?
Yes, that's a thing.
I'm gonna probably go with the elephant thing, just because.
Bro, that means you have to cut off elephant balls.
I know what that means, but you put them to sleep and you do it, and then it's done. You don't have to swim in shit.
Bro, an elephant's testicles are 1 foot across.
That's fine.
I'd swim in shit all day before I touch an elephant nut.
No.
But just imagine if you mess up and the dick like falls out and hits you in the face.
They would be laying on their side, I would assume.
Bro, have you ever seen the elephant dick?
No, but
I imagine that it's the size of me.
I still would rather take the chance of an elephant dick somehow touching me than a 100% chance of swimming in shit and piss.
Alright, so would you rather be a whale feces researcher or the person that cleans up a porn set after a bukkake video?
Probably the whale feces, because I feel like there would be less herpes in whale shit.
So, I'm telling you straight up, like, I wouldn't be either. Like I couldn't pick between those two to decide which one I would rather do.
Yeah.
I think I would shoot myself in the leg to make myself disabled.
Oh no.
Like, because you gotta think, both of those jobs suck. Like, there's no upside to that job. So that brings me to another question, right? So you said that there's no way that you would be a hazmat diver.
Well, that depends on what your other option is.
No, I'm saying just like, would you be a hazmat diver right now? What amount of money would you have to make to become a hazmat diver?
Yeah, there would be a lot of zeros at the end of that number. I mean, I can't answer that right now because it's not real, but if you set a stack of cash in front of me, that answer might change. So yeah, I don't have like a answer for that right now, but
you wouldn't push the blend button for $2 million.
Again, I don't think I would.
I would. But
I really don't.
Let's wrap it up because you got to go to your meeting.
Yeah,
you have exactly 5 minutes.
I already texted him and told him I was going to be late.
No, okay. I still would push the blend button for less than $2 million.
Was that the only two that you had?
Yeah, because like those were the only jobs that I really felt like were shitty jobs. Like there's oceanographer, garbologist. You just study like trash and stuff like that. That's not that bad.
Yeah.
Coursework carcass prepare. They kill and pickle and bottle the critters that schools dissect. So I guess if you have a thing about killing baby pigs, I mean that's a thing.
I don't think I can do that either.
I could, and I could be an Olympic drug tester. I mean, I don't care.
Yeah, that's about all the time that we've got for this week. It was good having you back. I wish the other two guys were here.
Yeah, I promise you guys this. I will try my best not to miss anymore. Because, like I said, once we get, it's just right now it's crazy. We're trying to get moved in.
Yeah. With
the hurry up, and it's just not happening that way.
Well, we've got to. Once I figure out how to get us all on Skype, it'll be a lot easier.
Yeah, that is true.
I was gonna do today's with you on Skype, but then you knocked on the door.
Yeah, because my computer's not set up yet.
Oh,
so
okay.
I won't be able to do it till my computer gets set up.
I got you. You good? Well, no, never mind. Well, all right then. Yeah. Hopefully this was I thought this went well. So.
Yeah, I liked it.
Since nobody else is here.
Liked it too?
Yeah, I know, right?
He's going home to listen to it right now.
Jesus, this is the kind of shit I have to put up with every single day, all hours of every day. Since nobody else is here, I guess we won't pick a topic for next week, but we're going to go ahead and sign off. My name, once again, is Chris Robinson at Hurricane_SXE on Twitter. You can follow the show at EOH Podcast on Twitter. Visit our website, eohentertainment.com. Ed has given me the Stone Cold Steve Austin treatment. Every time I pause, he squeaks.
And I once again am Debo Assassin. Follow me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
Yeah.
At Debo Assassin.
And have a good week.